2020. And with 2 weeks left to go until Election Day, Donald Trump is going scorched earth as polls show him behind in crucial swing states. With a debate coming up on Thursday, new revelations about Russian attempts to interfere with the 2020 election, and a Supreme Court win for Democrats in Pennsylvania, this is the AM Report. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the program. This is the AM Report with Alex Mahaja for Haps News, the network of now. And there are approximately 2 weeks left until Election Day this morning, and Donald Trump has gone scorched earth as polls show him behind in key battleground states, and a record-breaking turnout is being reported all across the country. As of Saturday, more than 26 million Americans have voted, according to the U.S. Elections Project, which is a turnout tracking database run by the University of Florida. And that's more than 6 times the number of votes cast by this same point in 2016. We're seeing record-breaking turnout in early votes in Georgia and Texas. And Democrats have cast about 53% of the early votes, according to this study. And the predictive analysis by the data from Target Smart, which uses voter data beyond party registration to project turnout trends, shows that 36% of Republicans have cast early votes, and the rest of these votes, of course, are coming from independent and no party preference voters. So the pressure is on for Donald Trump, and he is going scorched earth in his campaign tactics with 2 weeks left to go. He's slamming Dr. Anthony Fauci. He spent the day yesterday lashing out at him, at the polls, the pollsters, and of course the media, his usual targets. And Dr. Fauci is a source of real ire for the president. We've got some people chiming in. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Pablo. Good morning, Carmen. It's good to see you all this morning. Dr. Fauci has been an interesting target for the president for some time. And yesterday at a rally, he was criticizing Dr. Fauci in really interesting ways, and we'll get into that. But the pressure is certainly on the president. And on top of this, there's been a huge blow to Republicans in Pennsylvania due to a Supreme Court ruling that really was really problematic for the Republican Party, who has really waged an all-out assault on voting rights. So the Supreme Court yesterday decided in a 4-4 split because they could not come to a majority rule that they left in place a lower court ruling that will let state officials count ballots in Pennsylvania received after Election Day, unless there is evidence that they were sent after the deadline. And election officials will now have 3 days to count those ballots. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court had determined this last month. The Supreme Court will leave that order in place. So this is a huge win for voters' rights, for people who are interested in having all the ballots counted. Pablo de la Hoya is saying in Arizona, Trump was telling people to vote early and send in ballots. We got a hello from Ireland. Good morning. Yeah, we're going to talk about Arizona and that Trump's tactics in Arizona. But the pressure is certainly on President Trump. He's feeling the weight of these flailing numbers, and it's not helped by ads like this from a group called Midas Touch. And I want to play that for you now. organization called Midas Touch, a progressive PAC. And these kinds of ads are what Midas Touch is saying is their closing argument as we go into 2 weeks left until Election Day. And the pressure is certainly on these kinds of really cogent, coherent arguments against the president while he sort of lashes out at Dr. Fauci, at the press, at the polls, and doesn't really seem to have a coherent response to these direct line attack ads that are very effective, in my opinion. And so yesterday, Donald Trump was lashing out at medical experts, complained about people being tired of hearing about COVID-19. The death toll, of course, in the United States has now exceeded 220,000, and it's accelerating in many states. We're seeing spikes across the country, throughout the Midwest. And he made these comments on a call with campaign staffers yesterday. He's looking to sort of shift the blame for the pandemic and really seems to be frustrated that he can't change the conversation about the federal government's failure to respond in any coordinated way. So the messaging doesn't really make sense here. His criticisms of Dr. Fauci don't make sense. Dr. Fauci is, of course, a deeply respected public health expert, the leading public health expert in the country. And most recently, Donald Trump even used Dr. Fauci in a campaign ad and is now insulting and criticizing him, and doesn't really seem like there's a coherent response by the Trump campaign. Mr. Trump, is Mr. Fauci worthy of your advertisements, or is he a moron who can't be trusted? And in response to this, Joe Biden released a statement saying the American people have never backed down from a challenge, but they need leaders to show the way. And all President Trump has done is cower and wallow in self-pity. So this is really doubling down on Donald Trump's tactic here, which is to blame the experts for the virus. And on Sunday, Trump attacked his opponent, Joe Biden, the Democratic nominee for president, by saying that Biden would, quote, follow expert guidance if he were elected. He'll listen to the scientists, Trump said at a campaign rally in Nevada. Quote, if I listened totally to the scientists, we would right now have a country that would be in a massive depression. Instead, we're like a rocket ship. Take a look at the numbers. So if Biden's elected, he's going to listen to the scientists isn't exactly a compelling argument against Joe Biden. At his rally yesterday in Arizona, which Paulo brought up, he attacked the news media again. He singled out NBC's Kristen Welker, who is going to be the moderator at the next presidential debate, which is coming up this Thursday, and CNN. He attacked CNN for covering the pandemic. And so this debate that's coming up Thursday, the Trump administration, the Trump campaign is very displeased with it. The Commission on Presidential Debates, which is a nonpartisan organization which has been overseeing these presidential debates for decades, has announced new rules as a result of the really belligerent performance that the president put up before the American people in the last debate, which feels like an eternity ago now. But as you recall, Trump was insulting and interrupting and bombastic. He didn't answer the questions. It was a real spectacle. So now they've announced that they're going to mute the microphones and allow the candidates to have uninterrupted time during their opening arguments, but then we'll unmute the microphones during the, quote, open discussion section. We'll see how that goes. We got some comments. Yes, the mic mute is only for the first 2-minute intros. Correct. That is right. I look like a Trumpster, says somebody. I don't know what a Trumpster looks like, but I'm not wearing a red hat, and it does. I don't like the color red, but that's just me. So the debate, it's coming up this Thursday, and the debate commission has also released the topics that are going to be discussed, and the Trump campaign is also displeased with this. So the debate topics will be fighting COVID-19, American families, race in America, climate change, national security, and leadership. So the commission is saying they can change these topics if breaking news happen. But the Trump campaign is not happy about this either. So Bill Stephen, who is Trump's campaign manager, and I'll note was also tested positive for COVID-19, wrote in a letter to the commission that, quote, the focus of the next event should be foreign policy, not the list of topics selected by the moderator, Kristen Welker. So they are not happy. So for now, I think we should refer to it as the debate that's scheduled for Thursday, and it may be very well that the Trump campaign bows out of the debate as well. As you'll note, the second debate was also canceled because Donald Trump had tested positive for COVID-19 and didn't want to do the debate in a virtual setting. So we'll see what happens, but that debate is coming up on Thursday, and the Trump campaign has plenty of reason to be concerned, although the Biden campaign manager from the Biden campaign is releasing a statement that's ringing the alarms for Democrats and for independent voters who are interested in voting out Donald Trump. They are saying, don't pay attention to national polls, fight like you're behind, and that this election is going to be very close. And I will note that incumbent presidents rarely lose re-election. The Biden campaign knows this, and the Biden campaign also knows that this race is going to come down to the Electoral College, and that in many swing states, that while Biden may appear to be ahead in the polls, that there are margins of errors in these polls that may account for those leads. So it's still anyone's game, and Donald Trump may be losing in the national polling, but there's nothing to suggest that this isn't actually a very close race and that he could pull up from behind just like he did in 2016. So Democrats, although they have cast a great deal of early votes, we also know that Republicans will vote in person on Election Day in greater numbers. So keep your eye on this race. We got some comments. I think Trump will make an excuse not to show up to the debate. I think that's probably true. Tandem Run Bike says, and the scorched earth, ? The Scorched Earth campaign of criticizing the experts, criticizing Dr. Fauci, criticizing the media, criticizing the commission on presidential debates, criticizing the pollsters and the polls, rather than run on a record or run on anything that might be perceived as a policy proposal for the United States. Isn't America the only country in the world that uses this electoral college system? Isn't it anti-democratic? Many people believe that the electoral college is anti-democratic. It was conceived in a time where the country was a majority rural country, and it allocates votes in a way that's disproportionate or reflects the ever-changing demographics and population of the United States. So this has been the AM Report with Alex Mahajer for HAPS News, the network of Now. We are live every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, with all of your quick political news and headlines to get your day started right. If you like this content, if you like this journalism, please consider sponsoring it. Visit me at haps.tv/@AlexMahajer, and we will be back tomorrow morning to discuss all of the latest and greatest in Washington. Thanks for